It's not, you know, as we see with this big FBI sting going on in Monmouth County, that all these, all the greed and the corruption, you know, you have guys awaiting sentencing right now. But the big difference is between here and Ireland is the playing field is different. We are under a federal setup. And what that does is it gives local recourse through the local courts. We had the New Jersey Supreme Court. Now, the eminent domain, the people that are affected by eminent domain here in this country have formed, you know, a group that's very similar to WCUG. And because of their political pressure, it initiated and resulted in this FBI investigation. Now, we have local representatives, county and township representatives that are well off, that are taking bribes for as low as $200 and as much as six-figure digits, as far as in the 100,000s for developing. And but the nice thing is that we did, you know, unlike Ireland right now, we had that local recourse through the courts, you know, because it's federal.
But there is through, say, an Erenua program, there would be an opportunity for that to work in Ireland, as it would bring down power down to the local level.
Absolutely. Now, I was just going to go into that. With Erenua, which is an Irish formulated political proposal, and it proposes a four-province Ireland. It proposes the federation of the four historic provinces with devolution of power down to the local level. And by doing this, it would create strong provincial parliaments, Pat, which would have their own constitutions, which would be in line with the national constitution, of course, just like our country here.
And it would go down. It would go down to village, town, city, so that a community itself has a say in what is happening to it.
Absolutely, it would give better representation to the people at local level. Now, you take a situation like cow parks, where if they, like she was saying, if they wanted to take legal recourse, they would have to go all the way to Dublin, and they would have to go through the courts there, which is very expensive. Now, if it were to be in Parliament there, you know, these guys, and like, you know, in the United States, they may not know the cultural distinctions in certain areas throughout Ireland and the way the, you know, the economy is there and so on. So they would more or less vote along party lines. Whereas if there was a provincial parliament, you know, this parliament would be based on the people that actually live in that area. It would be self-contained.
So because the representatives that are in there, would be from that area.
Be from that, exactly. And this is what Erenua proposes. Also with Erenua, part of the Erenua program is Síl-Nua. And this is the social and economic program of Republican Sinn Féin, who is the sponsors of Erenua. And what Síl-Nua basically says is that it puts the people in a realistic view in front of profit. And we can see that it's the other way around, especially with cow parks. Now,
it shows greed.
It shows the greed. And also with the other Shell to Sea and with Tara also.
Yeah.
You know, and you look at having a provincial parliament in these areas, there'd be better representation. These situations could be dealt with at local level and come up with a better result than what's going on right now with it. And Pat, is there anything that you'd like to add?
Well, I would just say, if anybody was you brought up Erenua here, and if anybody who's unfamiliar with it or is not very familiar with it, there is a lot of information on www.irishfreedom.net on Erenua and its promotion here in the United States by the National Irish Freedom Committee as an alternative to the Good Friday Agreement. That's about it, I'd say, on Erenua.
You know what, and I want to go back, I want to put a lot of provincial parliaments to propose provincial parliaments in Ireland. It's very, very similar, and anybody, you know, that lives in America can understand this and appreciate it. And how it gives local representation, you know, not only through things like political things and economics, but for culture, housing, jobs, and so on. And this is what Erenua proposes, and this is one of the reasons why we formed this video series too. But, you know, right now with the current setup, on even with Shell to Sea, you know, they're dealing with the Dublin government, which we know hasn't had a real good track record over the years. You know, there's been 12 or 13 different tribunals, you know, that don't have prosecuting power, that have uncovered the corruption and the greed over the years. And they have a report, and I have it right here, Pat. We actually have this on our Yahoo email groups. This is a report a recent report that was done by the Joseph Roundtree Foundation. It's one of the largest social policy research and development groups in England. And this is actual summary of the report. And again, you can find this on our Yahoo email groups, which you can join on our website, www.irishfreedom.net. But I want to read a couple of the things on here. And it says the government published the white paper supporting voluntary activity, acknowledging the importance of the voluntary sector. This is one of the things on here, but it says the level of corruption. Ireland is now rated one of the more corrupt countries in Europe. So this is the recourse that they have through cow parks right now, is to be able to go to the Dublin government, forget about the money that she was saying, and having to deal with something like that right now. So this is why, Erenua proposes new government structures, and it proposes the provincial parliaments, which bring power right down to the local level.
And you can see where the corruption in Leinster House is in sorts of cases like Shelter C or Tara, where total disregard of the communities in which these are happening and it has to be money because nothing else is coming out of it.
No, well, that's just what it is, because if you look at the Shell to Sea campaign and you look at the, this was in one of the newspapers where they talked about the oil companies actually contributing so much money to these political parties for campaign reasons and so on. And you know what? It's no different here in the United States. We're dealing with the same corruption. Actually, it's even worse because the United States has so much financial control around the world that the foreign policy is felt everywhere, as we see in Iraq. So, the U.S. is definitely not innocent in any of this, but we're just using that to draw parallels with what's going on in Ireland. But, again, this is why we are very, very, proactive in promoting Erenua for a new and better Ireland.
And like Mag said, they've had a lot of problem with the media there covering this story, and that's one of the reasons why we started this series, is to get stories out there that we feel that matters to local communities,
right,
and to activists that gets largely ignored outside of things like, say, the cow park. I've only seen it mentioned in, say, indie media or Saoirse, and now here. Otherwise, I mean, I've not come across the story anywhere, and that's why I feel this is a good thing that we're doing here to getting stories out.
It is a good thing, Pat, and like you said, there's so much censorship. They'll control what information, and it's always been, it's like that in the United States also. They're going to control what information gets out to suit their own agendas. But, us being hard-working Irish Republican activists, we're going to find a way to get our word out, and it's nice with this technology, with the internet and with the video, and our production staff. We can get the word out on these issues.
Closing up that, I'd say we're getting near the end here now. I'd want to say thank you for watching the fourth installment here of this. There's a media center now that's been added to the irishfreedom.net that you can see the past episodes. And in the new year, there'll be more coming on in different subjects as well. I think I should also mention that in the next month, last Friday in January, the 26th, there we have the upcoming Michael Flannery Dinner Awards. The Testimonial Awards Dinner.
Awards Dinner, right.
And tickets are still available. They're $75 a piece. We also have an ad journal. They're $100 for a page ad, which is pretty good. It's always...
that's for a full page ad?
That's for a full page ad. It's great, okay. Great artwork always done by Brian Moore, of course. We also, in the new year, we'll be doing the IRPS, we'll be continuing the Cower Sustainer, and we'll be doing more programs on things that affect through Erenua and through a Republican viewpoint.
Now, the Cower Monthly Sustainer, Pat, if people do want to get involved, and help out the families during these tough times, what would they have to do as far as like in America or really anywhere around the world?
Well, in North America, they can contact the National Irish Freedom Committee at irps@irishfreedom.net, or just go to www.irishfreedom.net. The information is there under our IRPS campaign. There is a wealth of information there about the current fight for political status in Montgomery Prison.
Yeah, and we actually, part of the Cower Monthly Sustainer, we created it's kind of like a monthly payment book where you can pick and choose based on your income and what you can afford to send in, where you can either make an annual contribution or you can make a monthly contribution also. And that's available on www, like Pat said, irishfreedom.net. And for anybody that's watching this in America,